All right, so as we jump into it today, like I said yesterday, we're gonna just look at the words, look at the terms, because I think a lot of this is just tied up in semantics, how I feel about it. So today we're gonna look at conservative, orthodox, liberal, and progressive, kind of what those terms mean. Talk about them a little bit in relationship with each other, just for a brief period of time. We went over progressive a little bit yesterday and what that means. So I'm going to kind of come back to that last, and we won't probably do a formal dictionary definition. And of course, this is all off dictionary.com because let's face it, that's the dictionary by which most people operate today, as sad as that may be. But conservative, disposed to preserving existing conditions, institutions, etc., or to restore traditional ones, to limit change. Um, Theologically, I would think that I am conservative. I actually like the one about restore more traditional ones. A lot of the things that I do that I think people really challenge as being progressive, I really look at as things that we were really called to in the early church, and in our history as church, things that are scriptural. Christ is oftentimes talked about as being radical, which means a dramatic transition towards one's roots. So I think if we're looking at conservative in that manner, I would say that that's what it is. But I don't think that's how most people typically use that. I definitely think that we need to change, and that keeping existing conditions as far as the practical nature of how the church is living out its mission, in the trenches. I think when we look at our bishops, when we look at our leadership in Rome, there's a lot of. I mean, I don't have any major buffs. There are certain things that I think we still need to challenge and progress, but I think our leadership does a great job of looking at those things and addressing those. So conservative, I don't think so for me, but just practically, not theologically. I mean, yeah. So, anyways, liberal, favor of progress or reform. Um, I am again methodologically in favor of that. However, as I kind of look down at some of the other ones, the other definitions, they really talk about individual freedom being being the highest good. I think individual freedom is a fact. I don't think, other than extreme methods, anyone can really limit the individual freedom of another, short of killing that person, which is a sin and shouldn't be done. But I think we all exist in a place where we have a choice. Choices may be hard, and it's a topic for another time. But so liberal, I'm in favor of change. I don't know about reform. I'm looking to progress. I don't think individual freedom is the highest good. So I'm not so much liberal. Orthodox, of pertaining to or conforming to the approved form of any doctrine, philosophy, or ideology, right? And I think this is really kind of where it hits the road for me. All these are adjectives. All these describe something else. They all modify something else. And I think it's important to remember that one can be orthodox theologically and can be progressive in methodology. One can be liberal. Uh, Theologically and conservative in methodology. I think that's really where a lot of this comes down to is we need to ask people to define that term. When the person referred to me as progressive, I should have uh, asked for clarification on exactly what they thought, and I think that leads to good dialogue. So, and then back to progressive. Favoring or advocating progress, change, improvement, or reform. Again, for me, it's all about methodology, and life. It's not about the teachings. The teachings of the church are beautiful, and clearly laid out, and I think people who don't see that in the church really need to dive into their catechism. Really need to dive into what the church teaches, um, before they try to come at us with their statements. And I think we as Catholics need to do the same thing, because I think we're ill prepared to sometimes respond to that. But I think when it comes down to um, how we're doing youth ministry in the church, I think it's becoming clear to me that I am progressive, in my methodology and the way that I think we should do things. And I had a great conversation today that I think I'm going to dive into a little bit tomorrow as we come back to this. So those are just a couple terms, and again, I throw them out. And this is my first time to video blog, so if you don't like what I'm saying or don't like the way I'm presenting it, let me know, drop me a line, hit a comment, because I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to improve what I'm doing. And this is for me to clarify my thoughts, but it's in hope of spurring on some dialogue. So thank you guys. Tomorrow we're going to wrap up with a couple of the ways that I think we need to progress in youth ministry. A couple of ways that I think we need to kind of look forward and change what we're doing. So we'll talk more then.